Hey, I'm Tyler, and as a hardcore introvert myself, I think I can speak for us all when I can say, as introverts, we tend to have some social deficiencies, and these social deficiencies can really get in our way of living a fulfilled life, given the fact that we are members of a society that's existed for thousands of years based on socializing and building relationships. Now, with that being said, before I get into the video today, I would just like to update anybody who's been watching, or even if you're new here. I know it looks kind of like I'm working by the candlelight here. I'm on some 1800 shit, but I'm in the process of moving. It's a rainy day. There's no lighting, so this is what we're getting. But if you are new here, make sure you press that subscribe button. If you aren't new here and you're not subscribed, why aren't you subscribed? And also check me out on Twitter, or X, I guess they call it now, at Tyler's Guide for daily motivation and little extra information here and there. Super valuable information. And now let's dive on into the content. According to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, one cannot build self-esteem and reach self-actualization without love and belonging. Love and belonging includes having things like friendship, intimacy, family, and a sense of belonging. And these things need to be a part of your life so that way you can get through the other stages of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which I will pull up for y'all real quick. So it's pretty much just the theory. You start from the bottom down here, and you got to work your way up to where we eventually want to go, self-actualization. As far as things like social connection and social skills in general, that's going to be in this middle area here. So if you can't get past this part, you can't get to esteem and, of course, self-actualization. While many of us introverted types may try and cope and say things like, I prefer being alone, I'm going to speak for us all when I say that's partially a lie. Sure, introverts, we love that alone time. It's how we explore ourselves and feel energized. But 100% alone time will drive any person insane. Have you ever heard of solitary confinement? It's literally a form of torture at its extreme. I know it's also a form of torture forcing an introvert to socialize. It's all part of the journey, my friend. If I revive my flatline social life, you definitely can too. You're definitely going to be rusty at it at first. You might be a little weird. No worries there. Just remember neuroplasticity. Takes a minimum of at least 30 days to really start seeing actual change. Even then, it's going to be small change, and the effort required during these times of change is going to be a lot more than usual. How badly do you want to fix your social life is the real question. If you want it bad enough, here are the 10 social mistakes and solutions that every introvert or socially awkward person in general makes for you to start becoming aware of today. Number one, never starting conversations. Now, this one is probably the biggest one I'm going to talk about today because it essentially addresses all of the other problems hereafter. Introverts are introverted. I know that's crazy, but that just means that they are much less inclined to go and start a conversation. That's usually because as an introvert, you tend to be more stressed out or just more worn out from conversations in general, rather than energized like extroverts are. The solution? Start starting conversations. And the more you do this, the more it's going to gradually decrease your cognitive resistance to it. I know how it is. A lot of times, even when you know you need to start a conversation, you just got that little thing that's like, oh, I don't want to do it. Just do it. I promise you, it's going to make you better. And you might be a little weird at first. You might say the wrong things. That's okay. Just talk to some random people you're never going to see again. And then take whatever it is from those conversations, take the feedback if they think you're a weirdo, or maybe it goes really well, whatever it is, take that feedback and take it going forward so you can kind of adjust your rough social edges. Now, my secret tip with this is if you go to the gym and you have a sauna, get in there. People are just sitting there for like 10 minutes. They're having conversations. You can practice hopping in. You can just practice starting random conversations. I think I started a random conversation with somebody the other day. Oh, they were just listening to a song. We ended up talking for like 10 minutes because I just asked them a question about Kanye West. So try the sauna if you have one. It's a great place for practicing conversation. Number two, closed body language. Now, this is a tough one because you feel uncomfortable, so it's kind of like your natural inclination to take up less space and retract. This is bad because People are going to pick up on this, and it greatly reduces your social presence, makes you look unconfident, whether people are subconsciously or maybe even consciously picking up on these signals you're giving, and they're going to interact with you differently based on that. So the solution here is literally just practice open body language. So take up space, keep your chest out, your arms to your side, head up, neck straight. There's really a great thing about this because once you start doing it, not only do you just become comfortable with doing it, it actually physiologically alters your body, and it changes the neurochemicals to where you actually feel more powerful, you feel more confident. It might sound weird, but if you refer to my video about the 3 most important rules for life, rule number 1, stand up straight with your shoulders back. It's really good. It's a life changer. Practice that open body language. Number 3, talking too little. Now, a conversation should be as close to 50-50 as possible, maybe 60-40 at most. Otherwise, it's going to be boring for at least one of the parties involved. I know it can be difficult to talk a lot at first. Maybe you're unsure of where to jump in. You don't want to be over dominating in the conversation. Maybe it's just hard for you to think of things to say because you're just nervous, struggling to come out of your shell. That's where you learn from practice. Which is, of course, the solution to this one. Practice, practice, practice. Practice contributing more to the conversation. Say something weird. Cut somebody off if they're talking too much. Just learn from whatever's happening. You're gonna make mistakes. The important thing here is just to not take it too seriously, don't overthink it, and don't take it to heart if you make a mistake. It is all a part of the process. Number 4, weird eye contact. This one's a double-edged sword because on one hand, you're nervous and you don't know how to deal with eye contact. It makes you uncomfortable, and you know you need to do it. But you also don't want to make the other person uncomfortable by maintaining eye contact too long. Eye contact is really important because it displays that you're confident and that you're engaged in the conversation with the other person. The solution here is just to practice making eye contact for longer than normal and progressively turn it up. So practice this in conversations or even practice it as you walk by people. Just maintain eye contact and be chill about it. The average eye contact lasts about 3 to 10 seconds. Now, obviously, we don't want to be literally sitting there like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we can look away. But it's just something to be mindful about. Honestly, the more you do it, the more you're going to get comfortable doing more and more. Maybe you'll hit a threshold to where you're doing it too much. At that point, you're more socially aware. You'll be like, okay, that was weird. Dial it back a little bit, and then you're going to find that sweet spot, and you won't feel so weird when it comes to eye contact. Number 5, giving out short responses to everything. Now, this is pretty much the same thing as talking too little. It's just a little bit more specific here. You want to keep in mind that if somebody's giving you, questions, they're wanting to engage with you. So if somebody's asking you, like, how was your day today? Good. What did you do today? I went to the gym. Like, nobody's going to want to talk to you if you keep doing that, right? And you might be nervous. You might not even realize you're doing it. Don't take it personally if you are. It's just something you want to be mindful of. Just start adding a little bit more to your answers, right? Slow down. There's no need to rush. There's no need to be nervous. Just see if you can provide a little bit more interesting detail. If somebody asks you how you're doing today, be like, I'm doing great. The weather's great. I'm just feeling in a good mood today. How are you today? Bring up the energy a little bit and try and include a little bit more. Describe your emotions in detail, and your responses are going to be a lot better. Number 6, giving off low energy. This one kind of touches on what I just mentioned. I know not everybody's hopped up on caffeine and stimulants, but sometimes introverts can unknowingly give off more of a lower energy, and it just comes off as uninterested. Now, if only the world could understand that that's just part of being an introvert, but the world isn't perfect, is it? The solution? Start turning up that energy knob just a little bit every now and then. It doesn't have to be a complete personality shift, but try a smile, have some open body language, throw in some probing questions, try and put more energy towards that person, and you're going to get a lot more energy back. And kind of just becomes a cycle of just energy to energy, and it's good. It just makes interactions much better. Start just making small incremental turning up the dial adjustments. And as you become more comfortable in conversations, you're just going to naturally bring more energy to it every time. Number seven, not asking questions in return. This one is a huge mistake that honestly most people make in general, but definitely most introverts make. This makes a conversation die really fast because, again, you just seem uninterested in the conversation or the other person. They can only ask you so many questions, especially if you're giving short responses. Now, pair that with low energy and closed body language, and you're not going to get very far. So, just start asking more questions. Probing questions are really good specific questions. Basically, a probing question, it's an open-ended question that allows you to get people to share more details than they normally would about whatever it is you're talking about. If you want an incredible role model for this, just go to any top podcaster, right? They're literal pros at this. This is their job. Specifically, Theo Vaughn, Joe Rogan. I mean, these guys are literal comedians, right? They're not scientists, yet they're able to go for 2 to 4 hours with some of the most brilliant minds in the world. If Joe Rogan can have an extremely interesting 3 hour conversation with an astrophysicist, I'm pretty sure we can have a decent 5 minute conversation with somebody at the checkout line. Number eight, not going to something or not going out in general. Let's be honest, introverts are the number one flakes. As an introvert here, I know how it goes to have told everybody you're going to the party, and then it comes around 8, 9 o'clock, and now you just don't feel like going. So now you gotta find some excuse to get out of it, and it really just damages your relationships and it puts you in a box the more you give in to that, I don't want to go side of you. The solution? Just go. The more you give in to that, like, oh, I'm tired or oh, I'm going to be bored, the more you give in to that, the more power it has. And like I was saying, it's going to start to affect your relationships because people are going to be like, damn, every time I invite Tyler out, he just flakes. I'm not going to invite him anymore. And then maybe one day you do want to go and you're just sitting there like, damn, nobody asked me to do anything. And then your social life is screwed. Get out there, practice those social skills. The more you overcome those feelings of like being tired or whatever is preventing you from going, the less power they're going to have over time. Now I remember I found it amazing how true this was when I first started doing it. I was just like, oh, I'm tired, but then I took a shot, went out anyways, and you know what? I ended up having a great time and I didn't feel tired once I got there. Number nine, uncomfortable being yourself. Now, this one's tough. As introverts, we tend to get a bad rap. We tend to be labeled as shy or just different because we can struggle with letting our true selves shine. Now, the thing is, when we're with people that we do feel comfortable with, we do let our true self shine. And that's why those relationships with those people, those moments with those people, are the best ones we've ever had. Now, this solution is one of the hardest. It's probably the most like deep ones here. The same way that we feel comfortable with those certain people, we must find that internally within ourselves. We must learn to establish feelings of self comfort and trust that we can be ourselves. This is hard and it really does require self exploration and a true understanding of oneself. Number 10, awkward first introductions. Sometimes introverts can struggle with these introductions. Again, it just comes from a lack of practice, really. But our first impressions are extremely important. We want to make sure we're coming off with warm, open, confident energy. Otherwise, we're going to be perceived as shy, unconfident, maybe even rude, and it's just not good for our social standing. I want to be real with y'all. The best way to practice this one, to solve this, literally practice in the mirror. Now I know that might sound weird, but it's pretty weird not being able to just introduce yourself, right? So let's take some weird to fix the weird and really just practice it a few times in the mirror before you go out. Hi, I'm Tyler. Nice to meet you. Now, you don't have to be so robotic like I just was. You could throw in a little pizzazz in there. But yeah, just pair some practicing in the mirror. Pair that with a visualization of, when you walk in the room, imagine yourself introducing yourself to someone, confident, warm energy, you're shaking their hand. It all goes well. Pair those things together, and you got yourself in the right mind for going out and having a great social interaction. And that's it. That's all 10. As a lifelong introvert, all of these things come from just years of learning how to deal with it, right? When I finally realized I did have a problem, I immediately began seeking all these different things to work on social skills, working on social anxiety, working on just understanding introversion. And with everything, the more understanding we have, the more practice we have, maybe just even the more understanding we have, more relatability to other people who are like us, the more we realize it's the same as anything else. Practice makes perfect. You can do it. Get out there, just start socializing with some people. Again, keep in mind neuroplasticity. It's going to take time, at least 30 days, probably more like half a year to a year to really see true results. And that's if you're going hard on it. The important thing to really remember is when you have that cognitive resistance to it, you have to be mindful of that. When that interferes with your ability to approach someone or to say something, you really want to be like, internally like, hey, I'm trying to work on these things. I want to be a different person. It's that cognitive resistance that's keeping me here. Keep that in mind. Keep meditating on it. Keep journaling about it. Keep practicing, and you will see results. I promise you. Again, I was in the trenches, okay? I didn't have much of a social life, and now my social life is pretty abundant, and it's going well. Not to flex, but if I did it, you can do it. Anyways, I appreciate y'all stopping in for the content today. Again, subscribe if you haven't yet. I'm going to be continuously bringing you guys good information to improve your life. Also, check me out on X. Check me out on Pinterest. I have the links in the description below. Take care, everybody. Best of luck ironing out those social skills.